Okay, so video number 2. This video is the truth. I don't know. It's not necessarily going to be good for you to know the truth. So if you want to keep living in a fantasy world where, everybody's cool and, you like watching TV and doing what you do and or whatever, watching stuff on the internet, I guess, these days. And you think that people have good intentions and things like that, fine. But this is a talk I got from my dad when I was about, I don't know, maybe 13, something like that. And it changed the way I thought about everything. And it's really just about being aware of the realities of power in the world. And the realities of how you're being manipulated. The realities of propaganda. You have to realize that, in large part, this is mostly for the kids, by the way, because I'm sure a lot of adults know this, but in large part, to get to the top, you have to be underhanded. I've said this in other videos. I'm just saying it straight. To move up in the world, to get to the upper echelon, I mean, they say it takes work, and it does take some work, but to really get into the levers of, you can work hard and do good things, and you'll live a comfortable life. You'll make money, and you'll be generally respected. But if you want to get up into the upper levels of power, where you actually have your hands on the levers of power, whether it be politics or business or, mostly politics and businesses tend to be the main areas where the power is controlled. Then you really can't be an up and up kind of guy. You have to be willing to do whatever you can to get ahead. And by whatever you can, I mean things that are morally considered to be unacceptable. Lie, cheat, steal. Most of the people who've gotten into positions of real power in the world have not done so in a completely innocent way. They've made some deals. They've compromised their morals. They've, at some point along the way, they played a game that was a game of manipulation. They manipulated other people, and they learn how to present themselves in a way that is not really true. They learn how to create a very impressive lie. And I just want young people to be aware of that. Some people are probably naturally aware of it because they have that kind of dastardly ability to manipulate built in, so they understand how the game is played. But for those of you who are innocent and naive, get ready, because it's rough. One of the things that really woke me up was watching TV. Now, I used to watch TV a lot. I used to like sitcoms, and I still watch TV quite a bit, but I don't watch the commercials anymore. But, I liked movies, and I liked popular music, and I was a believer in mainstream for a long time. I was a mainstream kind of guy up until about 13 when my dad had this talk with me. And at that age, he started to tell me, first of all, that you can't trust people in power. Never trust authority. I mean, I will say scientists are probably the one authority that I am willing to trust more often than not, because scientists do have their entire stated goal is to discover the truth about the nature of reality. So, that's what they say they do, and more often than not, they do it. Sometimes, certainly, there's things done for money. A lot of studies are done because someone paid them to do the study rather than because it was an honest search for knowledge. But But fortunately for us, science is the one thing where, for the most part, it requires a large amount of agreement before things are published, and so it's harder. I think it's harder to manipulate science. But when it comes to any other arena, um, you know, whenever you're watching media, especially, I want you youngsters to be aware of how people are trying to manipulate you. People are trying to manipulate you all the time. You're being presented with a version of reality through media that is a model for your behavior. And they want you to, monkey see, monkey do. They're trying to get you to emulate the things you see. And, a lot of the time, what you see isn't really the best thing for you. But, just to give you an example, I mean, just look at advertising. It used to be in the old days, it was hard to avoid it. But don't think people are making shows for the most part because they want you to watch a show. They're making a show because they want to make money, one way or the other. Money is, the root of all evil. And people will do anything to make more money. So when they make a show, it's not like, oh, we wanted to make this great show to show people. It's all about, we want to make something that enough people will watch so that we can, make money. Now, it used to be in the old days, people made money with advertising. And my dad showed me the nature of how, advertisers, the products that they sell, they may not necessarily have the best product. A lot of times the products that do the best are sold because they have the resources to plaster that product on every available source of media that you come into contact with. There's commercials on TV, there's commercials on the internet, there's commercials on the radio. And, all these shows, everything that you watch, all these movies, they're all designed around selling you, making you into a consumer, and a consumer of powerful people's products, powerful companies' products. And I think this is sort of a problem with the youth generation today. You guys in a lot of ways, you're a good generation, the millennials. You have your heads on right, I think, generally. You're not dumb. And, you have, pretty good ideas about, what's right. I mean, a lot of young people tend to be progressive, and you're more progressive than some of the younger people were in decades past, or generations past. But one place where you're not really getting it, or where you might be going a little, where you're being led astray a bit, is technology. You kids love technology, and to an unhealthy level, I gotta say. Maybe I'm a little hypocritical making a video with a webcam telling you people that you love technology too much. I'm fall prey to the same crap. I'm subject to lots of technology. I have a phone that I use way too much. I mostly use it to communicate with people, which, most of you use it to communicate with people. But you should understand that all these phones and all these things, they seem like a godsend, but, people are increasingly living in a virtual space, and I'm not so sure that's a good thing. I'm concerned. And it seems like people worship the technology so much that they don't ever think to question the designers of the technology. People think of Steve Jobs like he was some god, and people, think, well, how harmful could it be for me to chat with my friends on, whatever people chat with these days, all day, and, to go through fads like Snapchat, which is now, I guess, dying out. I don't know what the newest thing is, but kids are obsessed with technology. They're always using a tablet. They're always using their phones. They're always, texting back and forth. They're always watching things on the internet. You're binge watching shows on the internet. And all I'm saying is, realize that you're being manipulated. Sure, technology is good. It's good to communicate with people, but try to get away from the technology a lot, as much as you possibly can. Spend time with people in the real world. Just go to a park, or Meet up with people. Don't always, get outside. Live your life. I know everyone's telling you that, but you allow yourself to be manipulated when you spend a lot of time online. Because what ends up happening is every time you do something online, it's being tracked. They're watching what you're doing. They're learning from you. They're passing your information that you give every time you sign up for something along to companies who send the information to each other in order to find ways to sell you things. Really, all the online interaction, they're trying to make you into more of a consumer. It's the same thing they were doing in my day with commercials on the television. You're more controllable when you're doing things online. If you want to be a real revolutionary, then you should sort of try to get away from consumerism. Consumerism is the great drug that keeps everybody, controlled, under control. And, the world's going in an ugly place thanks to consumerism. There's a sixth great mass extinction going on right now. And humans have tried to repurpose most of the natural world to our own ends. And, there's this massive need for consumer goods that are requiring amounts of resources that the world was never meant to produce. And eventually it's all going to come to a crashing halt. At some point, there's going to be a day of reckoning. And it could be from, a lot of different angles. I happen to think it's mostly going to be oil. They're going to try to replace oil with other sources of energy. I thought that was going to happen with oil a lot sooner, and it hasn't happened yet. And we still only have, people say, oh, well, we can just switch to alternative energy generation. Yeah, that's real nice, except for the fact that we're still only at about, I think, like 5 to 7% worldwide alternative energy generation. 95% or 92% or something of all the energy we use is coming from fossil fuels. So if your kids really want to be revolutionary, don't be out in the streets talking about, trans LGBT rights, or don't be talking about, Black Lives Matter. I mean, all that stuff is all well and good. But the real stuff they don't want you to realize is that consumerism essentially is bad, and that something needs to... We gotta stop living on a growth mentality. Things can't always keep growing. There can't always be more jobs. Everyone's not... You're never going to get to a point where everyone can be happy under consumerism. Now, I can't say I know what's a better system, but I do know that people in control of the consumer system, they don't want you to know that you're being controlled. They make it so that you live in a world that's don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain type of thing. If you've ever seen The Wizard of Oz, you kids might be too young to even know what The Wizard of Oz is, but you should watch it just for that scene. I guess it took me a while to realize how I was being sold. I would watch. I didn't realize how I was being manipulated. On some level, I think I thought that businesses and rich people were good natured. And, my dad made it clear to me that, there's always someone trying to manipulate you whenever you engage with media of any kind. I used to watch movies. Instead of showing you the credits of the movie, they push the credits over to the half of the screen and they show you an ad for something, an upcoming show or something like that. You listen to radio sometimes, and I used to listen to a lot of sports talk radio, and there's one channel in the Bay Area that half of the content is commercials, and may not realize it. Don't listen to any source where even 30% of it is commercials. And now with DVR, we've come to a place where luckily we don't have to be as immediately attacked with advertising all the time. But now what they're doing is they're embedding advertising in the shows we watch, and that's become more and more obvious over the years. These shows all exist just for the sake of selling advertising. So when people have DVIR and they're fast forwarding through the advertising, there's a lot of people who don't have DVIR, and so they're still happy to show those people advertising. But now they have to get to the point where the actual content and quality of the shows themselves is becoming compromised through, product placement. So And I actually kind of hope it keeps going this way because the shows are ruined by this product placement. Conan does. I used to love Conan, and now he does bits sometimes on a show where it's the ad, the whole bit, the whole joke is a product placement ad. And I'm amazed. I love Conan. He's a funny guy, one of the funniest TV personalities, I think. But I lost a lot of respect for him when he started doing that, and I'm amazed that people in the crowd, cheer for these built-in ads because the jokes that they build around them are never funny, and it's really it's like an insult to our intelligence. If I go to Conan and they're gonna put one of these built-in ads on the show, I'm not clapping. I'm sitting there silent, and so should everybody else. I know that's what keeps Conan going, but if that's what it's going to take to keep Conan going, then, forget it. I'll laugh at the other stuff he does because, a lot of his other parts of his show are funny. I mean, not as funny as it used to be in New York. The newer show, by the way, if people don't know Conan, was not nearly as funny as it was when he was under Lorne Michaels in New York. That was some good stuff. But anyway, so yeah, just be aware when you're being manipulated. Sports, lots of manipulation going on in sports. Rah rah America, follow the flag, don't question authority. That message is being delivered all the time, and even the way that people live in shows and movies. It's all designed to give you a feeling like consumerism is normal. Buying things is normal. Having money is the ultimate position. And it's all propaganda designed to make people who don't play the game with the system look like rejects. People like me. I mean, I play the game as little as I possibly can. I still watch, TV more than I should. The new model instead of showing advertising is just to charge people directly, and so you pay for things like HBO. But even in in the pay for entertainment world, there's still a certain molding of your mind that's going on. People in power want to convince you that you want to be powerful, that money is important, very important, and that it's your job to play the game. I'm saying it'd be better if you didn't play the game. And for kids, the less you engage in absorbing media that's created for you over the internet, the better. Same as the less I engage in watching television, the better. The less I go to the movies, the better. Movies can be great. They can be an art, but most movies are not. There's some movies that break the mold. There's some sometimes people, every now and again, people will have some integrity when they're creating media. But just be aware that most things are designed to control you and to get you to be a consumerist. And what I worry about, especially for the youngest generation, is more and more kids are living their entire lives through their computer and don't go out in the world anymore, and are giving a wealth of information to people who are in the business of manipulating you for profit. And I say try not to get too sucked in. I don't want to see your whole generation living through their computer. I don't want to be 80 years old and watching, if I make it that long, which I highly doubt, but I don't want to be getting old and watching people get sucked into a virtual existence. The world is out there. The world is not made by men. The world is not made to manipulate you. The world is there to be enjoyed. And there's nobody secretly, as far as I know, probably in all likelihood, nobody's out there secretly trying to manipulate you for their own benefit. The world, as far as nature is concerned, God, the universe doesn't care about you. So I wish it cared about you more, but it's good that it doesn't in a way, because at least it's not it's not screwing you over. So just be aware. Be aware of when you're being lied to. Be aware when you're being sold to. One last note about it, music. I wanted to make a note about this too. In the world of music, is used to be, there was a lot more integrity of music in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and even into the early 90s. People used to have an artistic statement to make, but that's largely been crushed. Music is all about an image now. It's about selling you an image, and you can tell by what's in music videos these days. and the lyrics to songs. People aren't, the revolutionary spirit has died in music, and that's one of the reasons why music has suffered to the point that it's at today. I'm not much for Katy Perry. I'm glad she made that one. I'll give her some credit for making that one song about, what is it called? I forget, something to the rhythm. But it took Trump being elected for her to realize that, and even still, she's going to go right back to making commercial music, I'm sure. But that's what music has become. It's commercial, and it's really sad. Music used to have a spirit, and it used to have integrity. It used to be about trying to wake people up, and now it's just letting. It's about keeping people in the same molds that every other form of media entertainment is in. So I'd say also, as a side note, if you're a musician, draw attention to the manipulation. Make your music revolutionary. Put in messages that powerful people don't like, and do things that powerful people don't like in general. Figure out ways to just disconnect, become less of a consumer. I could say this to myself. There's a lot of ways I could do this myself, but if we all do that together, then maybe we can start to figure out a better direction for humanity than our ultimate destruction, which is on its way. I promise you, unfortunately.